Alright everyone, so since Creed 2 is coming out this next coming week for Thanksgiving weekend, I wanted to talk about the Rocky franchise, which I've only seen all these films one time actually, and I'm rewatching them again for the second time. Because I watched them all for the first time a couple of years ago, and really, honestly dug the hell out of all of them. I think that they're all fun, even the ones that people think are bad or just silly. Like, because the Rocky franchise is a really rocky terms of tonal consistency, because there's a lot of really serious ones and there's a lot of really goofy ones, so it's a weird mixture with this franchise. And tonight I watched the original Rocky, the original 1975 film, the one that started it all, the one that is considered one of the best films ever, considered one of the best classics ever. And rewatching Rocky 1, I was blown away by this one, man. It truly does show how great of a movie this is, and how its lasting appeal has stood the test of time, because the original movie is considered one of the best movies ever made, plus all of these sequels have kept Rocky the franchise alive, and Sylvester Stallone, even though he's done a lot of different things, this is one of his best roles that I've seen him ever do. And Rocky is just one of those movies, man, that just gets me. I love the fact that I'm not a huge sports person. Like, I mean, I'll watch sports, but it's not really my thing to be obsessed with sports. Like, it's not my thing to do that, really. I'm just more of a casual person when it comes to sports. But I love that this movie is such a sports-heavy movie in a way. I mean, it's a drama in most ways, more than a sports movie. But I think that despite it being a sports movie, I really do love everything about it. And I don't dislike sports movies. I just think they're not as interesting to me. I don't think they're very interesting. But that's only my opinion. So the movie starts out in 1975 in Philadelphia, where this character Rocky Balboa is this down on his luck guy, and I love the fact that this character Rocky is the definition of rooting for the underdog. Like, this is one of the most sympathetic and most likable characters ever in a movie. Like, Sylvester Stallone's performance is incredible in this movie, and he gave this performance, or this movie with him in it, gave every other archetype for this rooting for the underdog, for this guy who wants to win it, this guy who wants to make something of his life, this guy who wants to go the distance. And I love the fact that Sylvester Stallone just is incredible in this movie. I love the fact, everything about him. I love how he wrote this movie too as well. The writing is really great in this movie as well. I love the fact that he is the quote-unquote underdog that you're rooting for. Like, because he lives in a ratty apartment, he's low on money, he's a little slow in the head too, and Sylvester Stallone plays that in a way where it seems so believable. And I just think that he just gives off such an incredibly likable performance, and he's just so incredible in this movie. Truly one of his best performances is in this movie. It's really hard to beat, even though he's got a lot of great performances. And I just love this movie and how it gives this character Rocky and everybody around him such great character moments and character development. And I love the fact when it's just scenes of him doing things with random people. With not random people, but with the characters in the movie. Like, for example, whenever he is training at the place with Mickey, and they have great conversations, because Mickey is this character who is a very hard-ass old man. Like, I think he said he's like 77. This hard guy who just is tough on Rocky and everybody else, but you could see that he's got like a love for Rocky. Like, he cares for him. He really does care for him, even though he's very tough on him. And that really works really well in moments like that. And I love just conversations between him and Mickey, where Mickey will say like, you know what you are? You're a tomato. And like, I just love lines like that. Or whenever he says like, whenever he says any line, basically, like whenever you're gonna when you're gonna eat lightning, you're gonna crap thunder. Or right, I think I just said it wrong, but you know the quote. You know the exact quote I said, um, but I do love Burgess Meredith as Mickey. He's a really, really genuinely, like, his performance is really incredible as well. All the performances are hands down really, really incredible in this movie. They all hold up. They're all incredible. Um, and I love scenes with him and Adrian where they have this romantic relationship. And usually, for me, a lot of movies with romantic elements can be, like, not feel legit. They feel very telegraphed and ham-fisted in a lot of, like, romantic movies. Not all of them, but a lot of them feel like that, like, process like that. And this one, I feel like feels legit. Like, this feels like these characters actually fell in love in this movie and in the circumstances that they're both dealing with. Like, Adrian is this really shy woman who Rocky tries his hardest just to push to get her because he likes her a lot. He always sees her at the pet shop. And I love lines like this where he's just trying to get with her. Where there's a line where he says, "Okay, I'm gonna go home, but when I go home, I'm gonna make you a joke for tomorrow," and I love, like, responses like that to Adrian, like Rocky to Adrian, like he's trying so hard to get with her, and he likes her so much, and he's not gonna give up, and whenever he gets her, it feels really warranted, and whenever she falls in love with him, it feels warranted. They both have this really great chemistry where it feels so real and legit. And I really like how with Paulie, who is Adrian's brother, who is this asshole guy, he's like a horrible person. He treats Adrian bad, treats her like she's nothing, calls her a loser, treats her horribly. He's always rude to everybody. But Burt Young does a great job as this character. That sounds bad to say, but his performance is really, really great. Like, he's got a really, really great performance in this as this horrible, like, he's a horrible character, but I don't know, like, it's hard to explain. Like, he's not likable, but he's got, because of the performance, like, he's got something that makes you stick with Paulie still. It's not like he's annoying. It's like this character seems like he's actually like this horrible, or this asshole guy. So Paulie is great as well, and scenes between him and Rocky are great. Scenes between him and Adrian are great. Whenever Paulie breaks down to Rocky and Adrian later, like, it's a really good scene. And Rocky's other interactions with everybody is great. Like with Little Marie, the girl that's on the street, where, like, he's just talking to her, saying, like, because she's this, like, 10 or 12-year-old girl, she's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "Don't do that, you'll get yellow teeth." And she's like, "Maybe I like yellow teeth." Or, like, he'll say, like, don't you grow up to be I'm gonna say a bad word, whore. Don't you grow up to be a whore now. And I just like how his conversations with this little girl is really great too. All these conversations work really well with the Rocky character and build him up to what is the inevitable end. And it's just really well written and really interesting, and the performances are just incredible with Sylvester Stallone writing and acting in this. It really, it works so incredibly well, and I love everything he did in this movie. And I just love how, since this is a drama, it's about building up to this fight. It's about these characters breaking down and becoming better than what they, like, whenever they break down, they become stronger. And Rocky really does, as this movie goes along. Like the scene where he's talking to Mickey at his apartment, and Mickey talks to him about training him, and Rocky's like, "Where were you whenever you were gonna train me all these years I've been there? Like 6 years I've been here, or 6 years I had a locker." And it's a really great moment where they scream at each other, and Rocky just screams, like, "You didn't give me nothing. Like, you didn't give me anything at all. All this time I've been here, like, you give me nothing." And it's just a really, really great emotional scene. Like, Rocky's breakdown to Mickey is great, and then whenever Mickey leaves, Rocky runs out, and then then Mickey starts training him, and I just think that it's a really, really great dramatic moment. Like, it works really, really well. Like I said, the scene where Polly breaks down to Adrian and Rocky, and like Adrian screams at Polly and says like you I don't know you nothing. You made me feel like a loser, and like you realize that like these characters are going through all this, and like it just builds on their characters where like you realize that Adrian, the shy girl, has been shy and kind of like this because Polly has always been a bully to her. He's been picking on her the whole time. And she has been pissed that she's been like that, and she finally stood up to him, and she's finally standing up to him completely and not giving into a shit anymore. So I love that as well. I just love that scene as well. And then there's a great scene where Rocky says, whenever he's in bed with Adrian, like he just walks in and gets into bed and just starts crying. And he just says like he's talking about going the distance, like finally being able to do this. And I love the line where he says, "It'll be the first time in my life, you see, that I won't be just another bum in the neighborhood." And it just characterizes him in a way where he's just such an interesting character and such a sympathetic one. He doesn't care if he wins this fight. He's just wanting to make it through. Like, he wants to make the distance, go the distance. So I really think that that's a great scene as well. And Apollo Creed, who I didn't mention yet, Carl Weathers, is great in the movie too, but he's not in it that much. He's pretty scarce in the movie, but it's totally fine because this movie was building on Rocky and his relationship with everybody and building up this inevitable conclusion to where he becomes strong enough to go against Apollo. Even though this fight, he keeps it very like to where he lasts till the end. Rocky does, but he loses. And the thing I love about this movie too is that he loses the fight, but it doesn't matter to him because this movie isn't about that. It's about him becoming a stronger person, and he made the distance. He went the distance and got a girl. He got Adrian, his girl. He got all these friends. He got Polly as well, and then Mickey. And in the end, whenever Adrian says like "I love you" to him, and he says "I love you," and it ends on that. I think that's a perfect way of describing this, or perfect way of bringing this movie together, in which Rocky just wanted to go the distance. He wanted to get to this fight, and even though he lost it, he made it. Like, I love the fact that he made it, but even though he lost, and usually whenever, I like the fact that he lost too, because usually in movies like this, they win. They always win. Not always, but most of the time they always win. So I love that this movie started that trend of like, oh, he didn't win. It wasn't for nothing though, because he gained all this friendships and his love and just being stronger as a person. So I love how great of a drama this is, and I love how all these characters are so interesting, and everything about this movie just works perfectly. This truly is one of the best movies ever, and it does blow me away watching it again just how incredible this is. So I really loved the first Rocky, rewatching it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will keep doing all the Rocky reviews with Rocky 2 next, so thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.